Untitled, and welcome to the Pantheon, where we're going to be having a look at the frozen wastes of Kaldheim today. And in those frozen wastes, a troll has taken up residence. And it's Svella the Ice Shaper. 3 mana for a 2/4. You can pay 3 and tap it, create a colour snow artifact token named Icy Manolith, with tap, add 1 mana of any colour. And then the real reason you want to be playing this, 8 mana and tap. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may cast a spell from among them without paying its mana cost. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So, really cool set of abilities, like a constant source of ramp and also, a bit of top deck manipulation. Get a massive creature out of your deck. Or potentially a planeswalker, as it is any spell, or just a massive instant or sorcery, which is really cool. I really like this card. Leads to something that Gruul hasn't really done before. Yes, it is very similar to Mael of the Anima, but this is Gruul. We're talking about Gruul. So please subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be making tons of these videos. If you enjoy them, watch more. It'll make me really happy and smiley in every single way. Without further ado, let's have a look at the top 5. In at number 5, we've got Great Oak Guardian. 6 mana for a 4/5 with flash. And now that last ability on our commander, 8 mana, we can activate that at instant speed. So with this deck, I want to be playing a lot at instant speed. So flash is one of the best ways to do that, especially in green and red. It's a tree folk with reach, and when it enters the battlefield, creatures target player controls get +2/+2 until end of turn, untap them. So not only can we use our commander twice because we can untap our commander, but we also, it's a nice little overrun giving all of our creatures +2/+2. This card has everything I want in this deck. So what other cards can we play at instant speed? Well, Ancient Stone Idol is a 10 mana golem 12/12 with flash. Spell costs 1 less to cast for each attacking creature. That can be your own attacking creatures if you want to play at instant speed, but if your opponents are flying in at you, you can just flash it in. It's got trample, and when it dies, create a 6/12 colorless construct artifact creature token with trample. So it's sticky. If it dies, we've still got a big dude on the field. And the fact you can play at instant speed is wonderful. And it's a great hit off our commander's ability. And if we don't want to activate our commander's ability, the big one, we can just make a manolith and, leave up mana for that, which is really nice. It's a nice bit of modality. Bogarden Hellkite is an 8 mana 5/5 with flash and flank, and when it enters the battlefield, it deals 5 damage divided as you choose among any number of targets. Excellent bit of removal. Again, great card to hit off our commander, as we can just put it straight into play. But it's also a threat all on its own if it's stuck in your hand. Then we have Cloud Thresher, 6 mana for a 7/7 with flash and reach. When it enters the battlefield, it deals 2 damage to each creature with flank and each player, and you can invoke it for 4 mana. So excellent bit of removal on creatures in the air, and also it deals damage to players. So it can, if your opponents are at 1 or 2 life, finish them off completely. And it's just a 6 mana 7/7, so a nice little threat. Then we've got Vivian, Champion of the Wilds. 3 mana for a 4 loyalty planeswalker. You may cast creature spells as though they had flash. So all of our creatures can now be cast at instant speed. +1 until your next turn, up to 1 target creature gains vigilance and reach. Really cool with our commander because we can attack with her or him, and then we can still tap them to create a token or potentially use the 6 mana ability. The -2, nice bit of card advantage. Look at the top 3 cards of your library, exile 1 face down, put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. For as long as it remains exiled, you may look at the card and you may cast it if it's a creature card. Lovely little bit of card advantage. Then we've got Scrib Ranger, a 2 mana 1/1 with flash, flying and protection from blue. And we can return a forest you control to its owner's hand, untap target creature, play this ability only once each turn. So potentially we can use our commander twice in a turn cycle. Really good, make 2 manoliths, or potentially pay 16 mana and get 2 massive spells out of your library. Then if we're playing a lot at instant speed, Omen of the Hunt is a nice ramp spell. 3 mana for an enchantment with flash. When into the battlefield, you may search your library for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield tapped and shuffle your library. And then you can pay 3, sacrifice it to scry 2, which is great with our commander again, can set up the top of our library, remove some lands so we get more chance of hitting a big dude. Moving on to number 4. An Apex Devastator is the epitome of Cascade. 10 mana for a 10/10 with Cascade, 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 Cascade. So, if you hit this off your commander, and this is a great way of making use of all that mana that you're sinking into your commander's ability, 10 mana, 8 mana using our commander's ability, we potentially going to get 5 spells. Well, no, we are going to get 5 spells. We just are. So, for just that little investment at instant speed, we've got 5 spells on the stack. Really, really powerful. And that's why Cascade is so good. It's cheating on mana. And that's what we want to do with the deck. To go along with this, we've got Sweet Gun Recluse. 6 mana for a 0/3 with Flash. Right? Works with what we were talking about before. And Cascade and Reach. When it enters the battlefield, put 3 1/1 counters on each of any number of target creatures that enter the battlefield this turn. So, with Apex Devastator and these other, any other Cascade spell, if they cascade into another Cascade spell, you then cascade again. So we could end up casting 10 spells in one turn just at instant speed using our commander's ability. Really, really awesome. Aurora Phoenix is a 6 mana flying Cascade. Oh, there it is. Did I explain what Cascade is? I don't think I did. Cascade, basically, you exile cards from the top of your library until you exile one that costs less, and then you may cast it. Job done. Whenever you cast a spell with Cascade, return it from your graveyard to your hand. So we can rebuy it and then cascade some more. So we're going to keep chaining through our deck. Annoyed Altisaur is a 7 mana 6/5 with Reach and Trample, and Cascade. Cascade is just so powerful, and I absolutely love it. Bloodbraid Elf. 4 mana for a 3/2 with Haste and Cascade. At this sort of mana cost, we are generally only going to be hitting like removal spells and potentially some ramp, but that's still nice bit of value that we're getting off the cards. Then Sunbird's Invocation isn't technically Cascade, but it is very similar. 6 mana for an enchantment. Whenever you cast a spell from your hand, so this won't work from our commander's ability, but it's still a good include. Reveal the top X cards from your library where X is that spell's converted mana cost. You may cast cards revealed this way with converted mana cost X or less without paying its mana cost. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So if we hit cards off Cascade, they don't trigger Sunbird's Invocation, but inevitably we will end up with big cards in our hand, and Sunbirds will find more big cards, potentially Cascade cards, that they will then cascade. Then Maelstrom Colossus, 8 mana for a 7/7 with Cascade. We just want to cascade. Cascade, Cascade, Cascada, Cascade. In at number 3, we've got Cream of the Crop. So we want to manipulate the top of our deck to make sure we're hitting the best cards we possibly can do. 2 mana for an enchantment. Whenever a creature comes into play under your control, you may look at the top X cards of your library where X is that creature's power. If you do, put one of those cards on the top of your library and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. So we're going to make sure that for when we cast our commander, we've got the best card on our deck. Or, even if we're not casting our commander or using the ability, we're going to have to be drawing the best cards for any given situation because we can see the battlefield and decide. Plus that artwork, just look at it. He's got a little melon thing. A couple of other cards that are very similar to this that, we can put cards on the top. Brutalizer Exarch. 6 mana for a 3/3. When it enters the battlefield, choose one. Search your library for a creature card, reveal it, and shuffle your library and put that card on top. Put target non-creature permanent on the bottom of its owner's library. So excellent removal in, a tight pinch, or we can end up getting a massive creature that we can use our commander's ability to cast. Cavalier of Thorns is a 5 mana 5/6 elemental knight with Reach. When it enters the battlefield, reveal the top 5 cards of your library. Put land card from among them onto the battlefield and the rest into your graveyard. Then it's the dies trigger we want here. When it dies, you make exile it. If you do, put another target card from your graveyard on top of your library. Sets up your draw, sets up the activation of Svella. Really, really good. And it's a nice bit of ramp, although it is 5 mana, so you probably should have ramped at that point. Forerunner of the Empire, if you're playing a couple of dinosaurs, is wonderful. 4 mana for a 1/3. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a dinosaur card, reveal it, and shuffle your library and put that card on top of it. Whenever a dinosaur enters the battlefield under your control, you may have Forerunner of the Empire deal 1 damage to each creature. So it can potentially be a nice bit of removal as well. And I believe the Altisaur, that had Cascade, that is a dinosaur. So that's at least one dinosaur you could put into this deck. But there are many, many more. Worldly Tutor, 1 green for an instant, search your library for a creature card and reveal that card. Shuffle your library and put that card on top of it. Excellent for setting up your commander's ability. Then, this is a really cool card I found. Once and Future, 4 mana for an instant, return target card from your graveyard to your hand. Put up to 1 other target card from your graveyard on top of your library. Exile Once and Future. So, we get back our best card to our hand that we can cast, and we can also set up our next draw step. But, if you have Adamant, which means if at least 3 grey mana was spent to cast a spell, instead return both of those cards from your hand to your hand and then exile Once and Future. So if we're casting it from our hand, we could potentially set up the top. But if we put in green mana, you're just going to sort of get a nice bit of card advantage, which is really, really cool. Finally, Lurking Predators, 6 mana for an enchantment. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a creature card, put it onto the battlefield. Otherwise, you may put that card on the bottom of your library. So again, our opponents will be casting spells. And we can potentially get some massive creatures or just set up the top of our deck, keep putting things that we don't want to the bottom. Excellent bit of value. Which brings me on to number 2. And at number 2, we're going to be making a lot of tokens with our commander's top ability. The making the manaless, it is creating a token. So, Idol of Oblivion, 2 mana, tap, draw a card. Activate this ability only if you created a token this turn. We're going to make tokens. So this is a great little card draw engine. Then you can pay 8 and tap, sacrifice it, creating a 10/10 colors Eldrazi creature token. Big dude, quite nice. All of these are good things. With that said, making the manaliths, why don't we make more manaliths? Let's just have a ton of them. We can just pay 3 mana, get 2 mana back. And it just keeps getting exponentially better and better. Parallel Lives is a 4 mana enchantment. If an effect will put 1 or more tokens onto the battlefield under your control, it puts twice that many tokens onto the battlefield instead. So we're going to get 2 tokens. Hooray! Then Second Harvest, 10 mana instant. For each token you control, create a token that's a copy of that opponent. So potentially we could have like 10 odd tokens. This is going to double them all. We've got 20. Just manaliths for days. It's ridiculous. And then of course, Doubling Season. Expensive but classic card. 5 mana for an enchantment. If an effect will create 1 or more tokens under your control, it creates twice that many tokens instead. And if an effect will put 1 or more counters on a permanent you control, it puts twice that many on the counters instead. Powerful. Strong. Severe. Moving on to number 1. And in number 1, we've got Instill Energy. And a couple of ways to untap our commanders so we can use them multiple times. 1 green for an enchantment aura, enchant creature. Enchanted creature has haste, so we can use it straight away. Potentially, you could even put this on one of your massive creatures to slam in for a ton of damage, which is pretty good in and of itself. Good God, I'm lagging into the ground. Hopefully you can still hear me. You can pay 0, untap enchanted creature, activate this ability only during your turn, and only once each turn. Pretty good. Nice little effect. Then we've got Nature's Chosen. 1 green. I'm going to have to lean in here. Play on a creature you control. Play 0, untap enchanted creature. Use this ability only during your turn and only once each turn. Pay 0, tap enchanted creature to untap target artifact, creature, or land. Use the ability only if enchanted creature is white and only once each turn. So the second ability, not useful in the slightest, but that first ability, we can just untap our commander, use him again, or her. Then our commander is a snow permanent, so Rime Tender is a great bit of ramp that we can use in this deck. And we're going to be playing snow basics, so this just makes sense. 2 mana for a 2/2, tap it, untap another target snow permanent. So we can use our commander again. Then we've got Umbral Mantle, 3 mana for an artifact equipment. Quick creature has 3, untap it. This creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. And a quick for 0. So we can just constantly reuse this, constantly be just churning things out, putting lands, things onto the battlefield with our commander if we have enough mana. And those are my top 5 cards for this Svella. I really like her. Interesting card. Really quite fun. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please subscribe and like the video. Maybe leave a comment. I'd love to hear what you hear about Svella. And thank you very much for watching. Bye!